We're meeting this evening to begin the funding season for City of Evanston and mental health 2018 funding season. Community Development Block Grant is meeting tonight with Mental Health Board on some coordinated funding for various organizations that have completed applications for funding from both sources. So what we're going to do is we're going to introduce ourselves because we don't normally meet together except for once a year. And so we're going to get to know each other, and I think we'll begin at that end of the table. Good evening.
Hi, I'm Mike Pierce with the Mental Health Board.
Just one thing, you're going to have to turn the microphone on and speak right into it because, believe it or not,
It's green, so does that mean it's on?
Yes. Green means it's on, and when you don't want it to be heard, press the push button and turn it off.
Sounds great. Well, I'm Mike Pierce. I'm with the Mental Health Board.
Sandy Johnson, Mental Health Board.
Corinne Reedsell, Mental Health Board.
Melissa Wynn, Third Ward Alderman.
Peter Braithwaite, Second Ward Alderman.
Robin Rue, Fifth Ward Alderman.
We've introduced ourselves.
Don Wilson, Fourth Ward Alderman.
But the aldermen are members of the Community Development Block Grant Program.
Jeannie Zonka, at-large member of the Community Development Block Grant Committee.
Carol Goddard, Plan Commission member of the Housing and Community Development Committee.
Irene Zaya, Mental Health Board.
Michael Miro, Community Development Block Grant Committee.
Jessica Sales, Mental Health Board.
Becky Filer, Mental Health Board.
Glenn Mackey, Community Development Block Grant Committee.
I can see this is going to be a little awkward with our machines here. So first thing, let us explain, we'll have the applicant come up to the microphone that is sitting in front of us and give their name, whoever is presenting, explain who they're representing, and tell the audience who is watching at home how they can be reached to either volunteer, give money, or access their services, and then tell us if you're applying for mental health funds or CDBG funds or both. Explain to us just a little bit about your program. We've all read the packets, and so you might want to tell us something a little different that we haven't read.
The first agency is Family Focus.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing us to present to you this evening. I'm Colette Allen. I'm Center Director for Family Focus Evanston. Our address is 2010 Dewey Avenue here in Evanston. Our phone number is 847-475-7570. Our web address is www.family-focus.org/Evanston. I also have with me this evening Rose Johnson, who is chair of our auxiliary board. And also way in the back, I saw her, is Joanne Avery, who is the program manager for our after-school program and many other hats that she wears for the agency. And she's been with us for 35 years. So I'm glad to have their support this evening. Most of you are familiar with Family Focus. We've been around for more than 40 years providing family services to families with children 0 to young adulthood. We take a holistic approach to family support and social services, starting with our early childhood program, which serves families with children 0 to 3 years old with home visiting, parent education, and socialization. We have a partnership with DCFS that serves families in crisis, and we provide parent education, advocacy for those families, and we supervise their visitations with their children, all in the hopes of bringing those families back together. We also have a grandparent support group because many of our grandparents are raising their grandchildren. We have a father's initiative, and our hope is to bring the fathers back into the home. But this evening, we are asking for your continued support of our after-school program and our summer camp. We serve families, low and moderate income families, mostly from the Fifth Ward, whose kids are bused to schools in North Evanston. Also, they are very much a part of that statistic that we all dislike, which is the achievement gap. And we work very hard to narrow that achievement gap by providing them with homework support and enrichment activities and social and emotional learning. We serve anywhere between 50 and 70 students, depending on the time of the year. We tend to have more kids during the summer than we do during the school year. We're very pleased with some of the statistics we have had over the past year. More than 90% of our students at the end of the academic year were either on grade level in reading or above grade level in reading. Almost 100% of our students participated in science, technology, engineering, and math activities once a week. And another great statistics for us is that only 1 or 2 kids got in trouble in school, so we're very proud of our kids. Thanks to the support of the Mental Health Board and the CDGB, we've been able to leverage some very important partnerships. First and foremost is our partnership with Cradle to Career, and they were able to provide 2 AmeriCorps Vistas for us this year that supplemented our very small staff. We only have 1 full-time person, 1 part-time person supporting 60 kids. So that was very key to our success over the past year. We also are a partner in Evanston, and we have a very strong committee, volunteers. These are African-American men who are engineers and technologists and mathematicians and engineers who have decided to devote their time to family focus, and this is their 3rd year of doing that. And as a result, we were able to have our 2nd annual STEM Fest. We increased attendance by 10% this year. I really think it's more than that because the first year we did STEM Fest, it was K through 8. This year, it was just K through 5, and we still increased our numbers. We are still very involved with Museum of Science and Industry. They provide training for our staff and materials for a science club for our 3rd through 5th graders. We also had new this year a partnership with Science and Society of Northwestern University, and they did a science club with our middle school students. And one of the most exciting activities I saw is when the kids designed their own prosthetic arms and then had to make presentations on their arms and why they were successful or not successful. We had an engineering workshop over the summer with 3rd and 4th graders. We had our first robotics club this past year, and we also had one of our STEM committee members do financial literacy every week with our middle school students over the summer. So we really tried to pack a lot of stuff in there, but it's all proving to help our kids. Another partnership fostered by Cradle to Career is Evanston Food Exchange. This is the 2nd year that we've had the partnership. They have provided funding and volunteers for a lovely garden. The garden has been so prolific this year that we were able to provide fresh produce to our members in the community that come to us for free food. So in addition to the canned goods, they were now getting fresh produce over the summer. In addition, the kids also learned some entrepreneurship skills because they took some of the produce, went to farmers markets, sold the produce, along with some of the crafts that they made. Another new this past year, we were able to get a grant from the city for arts and culture, and we had a drama teacher that was there every day during the summer, doing creative drama with the kids, in addition to the 2 teachers that were provided by District 65. We also had a relationship with Art of Evolution Theater Group, which leveraged their relationship with Piven and Mudlark Theaters to provide camperships for the kids in creative drama. We continue to try to fine-tune the program. Our STEM committee has committed to improving the math skills of our students this school year, so we're really going to focus on math. The science clubs will continue. New to our partners this year is Beacon Academy. The students there have to do community service, and I ask that their art students provide art lessons to our kids once a week, and they will be doing that. And I'm in serious conversation with an organization that does digital literacy with young people. So we're working hard on things like coding and programming with the kids. So we're looking forward to a very successful and impactful school year in summer. I want to share a little story about 2 young people that I met 2 years ago when I started. They had just started at Family Focus. They were 6th graders, one African-American female and one Hispanic male. And like most 6th graders, when I asked them what they wanted to do, I got the shrug. And I'm happy to say they are now 8th graders. Both of them want to be doctors. Part of our partnership with Northwestern University included 2 field trips to Northwestern's campus, where they actually went into labs with researchers and saw the research and able to do some of the research with the researchers. So now Northwestern is high on their list for universities. They are also officers in the National Society of Black Engineers Junior Chapter, and they will be representing Family Focus in Evanston at a regional conference in Milwaukee in November. So thanks to you, we are able to have real impact, provide safe environment for our kids, and give them the quality programming that they truly need. Thank you.
Any questions? We're going to try and keep it tight here.
I do have one question. It sounded like you received additional city funding for the summer program.
We received a small cultural arts grant to do the creative drama. And it's in the budget. It was $2,500 to do that, to pay the salary of the teacher.
Do any of your kids get involved in the summer youth program, the employment program?
We had 13 of the summer youth employed as camp counselors this summer. Our kids, our programming stops at about 14, except for our high school's counseling program. So some of those students, yes, but we had 13 of them this summer.
But you hear back from them?
Oh, my God, yes. They still come by. Yeah.
Well, do you think you'll be able to accommodate the 10 children on the waiting list this coming year?
Yes, because some of those, we were really shocked when the numbers came in and we were going to have 30 middle school students, but a lot of those students didn't show, so we will be able to take some more kids, most definitely. And we'll continue to have those AmeriCorps this year, so that'll help.
Okay. Thank you so much for all
Thank
your
you.
good work.
All right, thanks.
So next is Moran Center, Legal and Social Services for Youth. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Patrick Keenan-Devlin. I serve as the Executive Director of the James B. Moran Center for Youth Advocacy. Our office can be reached at 847-492-1410. We are located at 1123 Emerson, Suite 203. And if you need additional information about our services, you can check out www.moran, MORAN-center, spelled the American way, not British way, CENTER.org. Moran Center got its start back in 1981, and our focus has always been to dismantle the school-to-prison pipeline here in our community. And we do that by providing a lifeline of integrated, holistic, legal, and social work programs and services. And we work to ensure justice and restore hope for Evanston's kids and their families, who all deserve a meaningful second chance. Through our programming, the Moran Center impacts over 700 families per year. Most critically, we provided over 200 young people with direct legal and social work services, served 103 through the City of Evanston's diversion program, 8 young people through Project Bridge, where at-risk youth met with City of Evanston police officers to participate in activities to break down stereotypes and build constructive relationships. 52 youth through our Alternative to Suspension program, both at Oakton Elementary School and Evanston Township High School. And lastly, the Moran Center's Special Education and Legal Advocacy Project, which is our fastest growing legal project within our agency. We supported nearly 60 families this past year in accessing critical special education services and supports in our schools, ensuring that kids succeed in school and beyond. And additionally, we also served over 600 people at our expungement and sealment help desk, which is at the Skokie Courthouse every Tuesday and Thursday from 10 to noon, which is right by Old Orchard Mall. We have strived to find meaningful ways also to measure the impact of our work, which I think all of us can recognize is sometimes difficult. But we are heartened to know that 80% of our youth that we serve have improved their school attendance, grades, and our disciplinary records in school. 80% are able to meet their individual social work goals, and 70% of our clients successfully comply with both court supervision and probation orders. Our kids and families live in poverty and sadly are living with the trauma that comes from experiencing or witnessing homelessness, abuse, neglect, violence, substance abuse, and or mental illness. Our kids are most at risk of becoming disconnected from our community and most at risk of being lost to institutionalization, gun violence, or to the school to prison pipeline. Our kids, all kids, because of the resiliency, have the unique propensity to change. Our social workers provide trauma-informed care that kids need in order to heal. These are high-touch, one-on-one, multi-year relationships. We invest whatever is necessary. As our social workers can attest, some of the most meaningful therapy that occurs is driving a kid to and from the DMV to get a state ID. Our lawyers advocate for children in the judicial and educational systems, but our social workers advocate for children in every possible setting. They're the single most important component of our model, and as a lawyer, I have seen the power of what our therapists do, the lasting impact of their work, and how trajectories have changed and literally saved lives as a direct result of the care that they give to our clients. We are today asking for additional funding from CDBG MHB. The additional funding will help us serve more kids and families, employing our integrated legal and social work model. And we feel this investment is paramount in order to create a community with kids and families who feel hopeful about their future. Our goals for this year are to establish a school-based civil legal clinic in January 2018 at Chute Middle School. It's a partnership with YOU and District 65 and Metropolitan Family Services. And our goal is to help close the justice gap for low-income families in Evanston, relieving additional legal barriers related to housing, public benefits, and financial exploitation, as well as immigration. We will also collaborate with Erie Family Health Center, the Joslin Center, Evanston Cradle to Career, and other community organizations in improving access to urgent mental health care for not only Moran Center clients, but all youth in Evanston. We hope to take the model we develop with Erie and hopefully the Joslin Center and bring it out to other agencies in the community. So now I just want to introduce Kristen Kenner just to give a brief comments as our Director of Social Work Services.
Good evening. My name is Kristen Kennard. I'm the Deputy Director and the Director of Clinical Services at the Moran Center. With the goal of being able to better measure the Moran Center's impact and evaluate the quality of our programs, both for program enhancement, but also to be able to report for funders who require such accountability, we've improved our ability to capture important client outcomes. Thanks to the Pratt Richards Group, the Moran Center recently completed a theory of change evaluation process developing new indicators to measure the impact of our programming, which we will use moving forward. We are also in the process of migrating from Access 2014 to Legal Server, which is a client management software that will also help us track our newly developed outcomes and indicators. In order to more effectively serve the families of Evanston, the Moran Center participated in 2 really important multi-session training opportunities supported by a grant from the Evanston Community Foundation this year. One of them focused on diversity training to reinforce our focus on equity and interacting with our clients in a culturally sensitive way, increasing awareness of issues of privilege, power, and institutional racism, increasing awareness and attuning to differences in race, socioeconomic status, culture, and education. The second series of workshops focused on the Moran Center staff taking a deeper understanding of how trauma and toxic stress impact our clients' lives and equipped us with the tools to better interact with youth and families in trauma-informed ways. The training also forced our staff to address the vicarious trauma that we experience on a daily basis and learn the importance of prioritizing self-care. The Moran Center continues to strengthen outcomes for youth and their families by communicating and collaborating with our community partners. In this way, the Moran Center works to create a tightly knit fabric of supports for our clients. Highlights from this past year in regard to community engagement include partnering with the Child Care Network of Evanston, YOU, and the Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights to conduct a legal workshop for over 60 local social services providers who support immigrant and refugee families. We're also establishing a formalized referral process to the Legal Assistant Foundation for clients who are in need of civil legal needs. Without the assistance of CDBG and the Mental Health Board, the Moran Center would not be able to provide the extremely important and necessary services. We want to thank you for your ongoing support and dedication to our mission.
Thank you so much. Questions? Yes, Glenn.
I noticed you said that you
Could you,
work with...
Glenn, could you get the microphone, please? I'm sorry, this is so...
I noticed you said you work with groups like C&E and stuff like that. Do you also extend out to Family Focus?
What do you think, Glenn?
Okay.
Yes, we do.
All right.
Yes, we do. Very often.
All right, thank you.
I have a question. Sure.
Microphone, please.
Your projected increase in the number of people that you're serving is 130. Is that primarily, it's a big chunk.
It is.
Obviously. And is that primarily because of the plan to have the legal clinic at Chute? Is that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes. And we will be hiring, just to answer how can 4 attorneys now miraculously serve 130 additional families. We are hiring a staff attorney that will specialize in civil legal practice and will also be managing our pro bono attorneys that we're recruiting. And we have a nice cadre so far of pro bono attorneys to help us with the clinic.
So it's actually 130 families rather than 130 individuals? So
It's
probably even more.
Well, it's 130 touch points, so you're right. It could be families, but certainly it's the interactions that we have with those groups. Yeah.
Yes, Peter.
Thank you. Actually, I'm just looking at your overall budget, and the difference between 2017 and 2018 is pretty significant. Do you want to just give me a quick little overview in terms of your targets for the individual contributions, also you're doubling your corporate sponsorships and you're showing less on your special events for a nice leap? Just give me some feedback on that.
Sure. So our fundraising has been very successful over the past couple of years. So right now is the budget that we've presented to CDBG MHB. We do have a healthy cash reserve that we will be utilizing in order to primarily start the school-based civil legal clinic. We also, thanks to the Evanston Community Foundation's Partner for the Future grant that we received this past year, which was a $100,000 matching grant, we have established better relationships with major donors. That was a main focus for the past year for us to receive training from the foundation, but to also go out and ask individuals for an investment and a commitment to the Moran Center. And we've been very successful at that, and we have a grant coming up this year, which is another matching grant that, again, will provide training and focus to do multi-year major donor asks. So that's where the additional increase is. And I hope I'm good at it. Because we need the revenue.
Patrick, you weren't around back in the old days, but we knew at some point this organization would get to this place.
Thank you.
I mean, it just had to happen that you would become this successful in fundraising because it's just such a wonderful mission that you have.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, it's going to get easier and easier.
From your lips to God's ears.
No. Well, look at where you are. I mean, matching grants of this kind of money, it's amazing.
But I loved what Colette said is leverage. You know, we are able to leverage those partnerships and those foundation grants and those major donors because of the solid foundation you all have provided us.
But
So thank you.
because of the work you do.
Yes, thank you. And my staff does.
Well, just that because of the work they do.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alderman.
Okay. Next is Turning Point Open Access Program.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Ann Rainey. I'm the chief.
I'm really sorry.
That's okay. You've taken care of my ward for a long time.
We lived on the same street.
Yes, we did. I'm the chief executive officer of Turning Point Behavioral Health Care Center. We are located at 8324 Skokie Boulevard in Skokie. Our phone number is 847-933-0051, and you can find us on the web at www.tpoint.org. This is our first opportunity to make a presentation before you, and I'm really glad to be here. We're here to request funding support for Open Access, our innovative program that allows clients to walk in during open access hours and begin mental health treatment on the very same day. This program is unique for 4 different reasons. It provides instant access to care. It eliminates wait time and waiting lists. It respects the client's decision to begin when they are ready, thus increasing the potential that their treatment will be effective. And it reduces the likelihood of crisis situations that often occur when clients needing services have to wait. Historically, accessing mental health services has involved lengthy waits. A typical result of individuals having to wait for mental health care is an increase in symptoms, psychiatric crises, emergency room usage, and the possibility that the person in need of care will give up on pursuing the services they require. Not receiving necessary health care can have a ripple effect on the client's family, their livelihood, and the larger community. In the past, our wait list at Turning Point has been as high as 200 people waiting for services, with an average wait time of 10 weeks for a first therapy appointment. With our new open access program, we have expedited access to care so as to provide this much needed support to children, adults, and families with no delay. Open access was launched last year in July, and in that first year, we welcomed 395 new clients in this program, 44 of whom are Evanston residents. And I should mention that after Skokie, we serve most clients from Evanston, about 10% of our clients. Each person received a mental health assessment, which was delivered in nearly every case from the therapist with whom they would continue to work. They met with a client services coordinator who reviewed their benefits to determine any fees they might need to pay. And during the meeting with their therapist, the client was introduced to a wide array of comprehensive services that we provide at Turning Point, including individual and family therapy, day treatment, case management, our living room crisis alternative program, our residential program, and our psychiatry services. In other words, on the day that they took the brave step of asking for help, help was provided. Our goals for this coming year are to increase our outreach and to build on our successful first year so as to serve more people in need. The information that we collect and track includes demographics as well as the number of inquiries, the number of completed intakes, the number of high-priority intakes, and the status of any wait list created because of client preferences or clinician availability. We very rarely have a wait list of any length, but it may happen that a person who needs an appointment on a certain evening at a certain time may have to wait until a clinician is available for that specific time slot. Turning Point's mission is to provide solid support when you need it most. There are no limitations regarding the place of residence or ability to pay. In fact, 90% of the people we serve qualify as low income or poor. We provide mental health care for people who are dealing with severe mental illness that impairs their ability to live and work, as well as providing care for others who are dealing with more episodic or situational stressors. For nearly 50 years, we have been honored to work with local colleagues, including many partners from Evanston, to create a community of healing and expert, affordable responses to the mental health needs of our clients. We appreciate your consideration of our request, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Yes.
I have a question. One of the severe shortages in Evanston is mental health services for kids, and I may have missed it in here, but I'm wondering with this open access program if you could break down what percentage might be children, adolescents, and adults. It might be in here, but I don't see it.
I don't have that. We can get that for you.
Yeah. Maybe.
Can I read it?
Yeah.
The 42. The breakdown of ages that we serve is as follows. 21% are under 18 years of age, 61% are 18 to 55, and 18% are over 56.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes.
When did our Evanston residents start going to Turning Point services? I mean, is this something new? Or
It's not new, no. There's always been a healthy number of Evanston residents. I think in part because we're so close to Evanston and we're so easily located at Main and Skokie Boulevard.
I have a question. Do you serve people without insurance or residency?
We do. We work with whatever people's situations may be, so if they're interested and qualify for benefits, we help them apply for those benefits. And during the time that they are applying for benefits, we don't charge them anything.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next is Meals at Home.
Hello.
Good evening.
I'm Debbie Genthy, Executive Director for Meals at Home. We are located at 1123 Emerson, Suite 213, here in Evanston. If people would like more information, they can check out our website at mealsathome.org. If they're interested in volunteering, we would love to hear from them. All that information is on the website, as well as the ability to give a donation, which would be very, very appreciated. Or if they have someone who needs access to food, we, of course, are always happy to help them as well. So one of our clients did not answer his door during deliveries today because his power wheelchair was not working. He couldn't reach his phone. He was just kind of stuck there. The Meals at Home volunteer could enter his house, call his emergency contact person, but they didn't answer. Voice messages were full. They called the Meals at Home office, and we were able to reach a different emergency contact person who could actually give him some help. Earlier this week, there was another client that was not answering during delivery times. We called her emergency contacts. They were very concerned. This is a person who's not able to leave her home. She has some pretty significant mental health concerns, and she should absolutely be there. She expects us every day. We did call the police, who went and checked on her and found out, and were able to share with her emergency contacts that she had indeed been transported to the hospital the day before. So I share those two stories with you because, well, first of all, we're grateful that they had happy endings, but sometimes that's not the case. And as unfortunate as that is, we're happy to be able to provide the service to them and their family. Meals on Wheels America has this promotion right now that you may have seen. It's more than a meal. So number one concern, we are a Meals on Wheels program. We are delivering meals to people who need it, and medically prescribed meals, which can be a challenge for a lot of folks for a lot of reasons. But we're doing a whole lot more than just a meal. And we've been doing that here in Evanston for 50 years. We're just preparing to celebrate that year. Hopefully you'll hear all kinds of stuff about us. We have relationships with our clients, with their families, and with the communities that we serve. The Evanston Police, for example, are very, very helpful. But what would happen if the man in the power chair didn't receive meals? Our pool of 350 volunteers are the eyes and ears that really do make a difference every day in these people's lives in so many ways. They bring the food first and foremost, and it's a very impactful service that does allow people to stay in their homes, which, as you've probably heard before, and I won't reiterate all of my application, but that is a tremendous savings to the community in itself. But they also provide these subtle safety checks and, in many cases, the only social interaction that they have, the only human contact. Trends that we're seeing at Meals at Home right now, of course, the aging population, which we've all heard a whole lot about, but more people need our services now than ever before. The growing need to simply access food. The national statistic is 1 in 6 seniors struggles to access food, and if you think about the absolute thousands in our delivery area alone, there's a lot to be done. More people than ever who need diabetic and other medically prescribed meals, in part because of the aging population, but just for a variety of reasons. That can be a challenge if you have all these other challenges that you're dealing with as well. We make certain that we never have a waiting list. So we're working really hard knowing that these numbers aren't going to slow down. We need to keep up with them. And we don't think anyone should have to wait to eat. I don't know about you guys, but I have to eat an awful lot all day long. So these are our challenges. How will we source enough quality food, not just opening cans of stuff, and keep up with the growing demand and keep it at a price that allows us to subsidize so many of our clients. We have a growing percentage of people who are receiving subsidies from us as well. So the numbers are going up and the percentages of subsidized are going up at the same time. So it's our hope that we can continue to receive funding from all of you. I would echo what everyone else has said. This is such a critical piece for our little nonprofits to try to keep going. But the aging community absolutely needs this. This is something that we hear from them about over and over again. I don't know what we do without you. And the ripple effect that it has on other parts of their health, whether it's mental health or some of the physical concerns that they do have, just the ripple effect throughout the community. So, any questions that you have?
One quick question.
Yeah.
Your microphone, please. If we don't turn them on, nobody can hear us.
Got it. So just a quick question regarding the budget. Another nice jump. It's
Yeah.
impressive. It's over $100,000. And so I'm actually looking down at your expenses. And so I'm looking at the meal cost particularly. It's about $100,000.
Yeah, well,
Between-
serving more clients, first of all, and then we've had some challenges finding food providers. So the amount that we've spent in the past on food is unfortunately not a reality as we're trying to add on food providers. So while we're working to try to meet that need, we're also looking ahead in the next few years to see what we can set up in advance, because we know we can't continue to have those kinds of leaps in our food expense.
And so the quick follow-up is exactly how many more people are you serving for that $100,000?
We have had 25% increases every single month for the last 2 years. And before that, they were significant. jumps also.
Perfect.
So we're looking at 250 this calendar year that will serve, and of course, people aren't all on the same day, but yeah, it's been really something.
And then the last quick question is, under your miscellaneous and taxes, you're showing a nice little jump. The last line item, PR, taxes, service security, from 1,600 to 25,000.
Got me, Peter. Okay, figure that one out. Which page is that?
You're on page 60. You can,
Should be the last page, right?
if you can't find it, I can have staff
Yeah, I
follow
might
up
have
with
to
it.
get back to you on that, because I can't find
Or
it.
Sarah. You see it? You can follow up.
It's the last line on the budget page on the Zoom grants, miscellaneous PR taxes, service security.
I'll have to get that back to you, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi.
I'm not seeing it. Sandy?
Sandy?
What is the meal cost for those, at this point, for those who pay the full price?
The full price is $9.50 for 2 meals. That's the total amount. So $9.50 per day. And that's something that we've been looking at also. We've been trying to have increases. We didn't have one for about 5 years, and then put one in place and have been trying to move it forward. Thank you. So that is a number of things. Okay, now I know what this is. Sorry about that. Security was a big piece of that because we did have a breakdown, or a break-in rather, where we had some equipment taken. So we now have a security system and locked record. I mean, they were locked before, but we had to replace. There was some damage done. And then the taxes, we also added more employees, so we had to pay unemployment taxes where we didn't have to before because we were so small. So it's just kind of a pile of things all in that category. I'm not sure what SERV stands for.
I'll
let
have
me
our
get
staff
back to
follow
you.
up. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll definitely get back to you.
Do you have more subsidized clients in Evanston than elsewhere?
Yeah, we have more clients, period, in Evanston than elsewhere, so subsidized as well.
Can you let us know more about that?
Sure.
If it's costing $9-something for the 2 meals for the full pay, can you give us some kind of a breakdown for how our residents are being supported?
Sure.
It's
So
really important.
the number of Evanston residents is about 48% that were considered
You don't have to
the
do it right
lowest
now,
income.
just-
Okay.
Yeah, just for our
One
information.
Sure.
I'd also be interested in knowing how many of those served have mental health needs, or if you have a sense of that.
Well, that's a little bit trickier. We know that there are 20% who aren't with us because of their age. So we can break it out, and we've been able to track about 20% between the 60-plus population and younger. It totals about 20% that we know have diagnosed mental health issues. But again, diagnosed is kind of the key word with them, because there's a whole lot of other stuff going on that they're not necessarily being treated for, and sometimes we can help them with that as well.
I think another thing that's really important about this organization is the only way these meals get to these people is because people give of their time every single day to drive these meals and drop them off. I mean, it's just the most amazing thing.
It's an impressive group of people,
It
too.
really
And we've
is.
talked about, they'll go out in any kind of weather. So when it's raining and we all think, yeah, maybe I'll just stay, and they're out there.
And they're so
handing
relied
out the
upon.
meals.
I mean, they cannot miss. You know, if you
Right.
say you're going to go every Tuesday, you've got to go every Tuesday.
Well, and if something happens, we do have a group of volunteers who are happy to jump in last
back up.
minute, so that's pretty admirable.
But that's all that I'm talking about, all
Yeah.
those people, yeah.
You're good people.
All right, anything else? Okay, all right. Thank
I'll get
very
back to you
much,
with those
and
numbers.
get
Thank
our
you.
answers, yeah. Thank you. Open Studio Project.
Good evening. Hi, my name is Chantel Healy, and I'm the new Executive Director of Open Studio Project. Our office number is 847-475-0390. Our website is www.openstudioproject.org. And if anyone has any interest in volunteering or registering for our workshops, they can check out our website or contact our business manager, Karen Kellums. So I'm here to talk about our Evanston Outreach Program, and there are two components of that program. One is the Art and Adventure Program, and the second one is our new program called TAP, Therapeutic Art Program. And we have provided services with the Art and Adventure Program for the last 15 years, and that consists of programs with during school with our social and emotional learning students, and also with our after-school programming, including YOU. The social and emotional learning curriculum that we have newly developed and we've been piloting for the last 2 years is with special needs children. And we will be working with them again this fall, the same group. The TAP program is a new program for which we are applying, and that is the Therapeutic Art Program, and it consists of a couple of areas. We are requesting funding we want to partner with the Moran Center, and they have noticed a need for the SELA group, the Special Education Legal Advocacy Group. The parents and caregivers of that group have asked for support. They are overwhelmed with the demands of making ends meet, taking care of their children, but overwhelmed with the process of advocating for their special needs children. So they've requested for support, and the partnership would entail Open Studio providing the Open Studio process services to them in a pilot for 8 sessions, 4 in the fall of 2018 and 4 in the spring of 2019. So. Open Studio Project's main mission has been to provide the creative process that it had developed 25 years ago back in Chicago, and it's to provide it to people, individuals of all ages and backgrounds, regardless of where they come from or their race, and to empower them to turn art into personal growth. We serve at-risk youth, hundreds of them, adults and children, community members. We have a storefront gallery, and we train professionals worldwide in our studio. We have worked in dozens of schools in Evanston and in Skokie, and as well as social services agencies. We've worked with YOU, YMCA, Peer Services, Rice, Children and Family Center, and the Moran Center. And now we are working with special needs children in the schools. And this is with and through the encouragement of Assistant Superintendent Special Services Joyce Bartz. We feel that our Open Studio project has had a profound impact on those who have experienced violence and trauma in their youth, and they are at greater risk for school problems, emotional volatility, and neurological and behavioral problems. And we have experienced a lot of positive outcomes with working with this population over the years. We know that if the individuals in our youth can feel safe to express themselves through verbal, written, or nonverbal ways, they are more apt to progress in their development. That which is not expressed can be most destructive. And by providing a safe and powerful and reliable medium via the OSP process to all these individuals, regardless of their background, including the youth, the disadvantaged, and our special needs, individuals learn how to express their emotions in a healthy manner and make better decisions. We also have an upcoming event called Peacemakers. It's actually scheduled next Friday, September 22nd, and we will be exhibiting an exhibit that was formerly at the Illinois Holocaust Museum, We All Need Peace. And the artist Ingrid Hassan-Patty Vick will be present, and it talks about ways in which we can express and demonstrate peace in our community. We will be offering workshops and field trips for students all throughout the fall and talk about how they can be peacemakers in our community. So thank you so much for your support and time, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Good evening. In looking at the budget that you have provided and having watched this process year over year, I know that issues with reporting, first of all, have been very, very difficult for the Open Studio project, and I'd like to know what steps you're going to take to remedy these difficulties, because when these funds come, the reporting requirements are never going to get easier. They're only going to get more onerous.
Right. Well, that's a very good question. I am an attorney. I have a background in compliance, so compliance is very important to me, and I understand the needs of reporting. I have met with Jessica very recently, and we talked about, in terms of, are you talking about the budget reporting or documentation to support our outcomes?
Well, there is
Or
budget
both?
reporting, which, I notice on this budget, you're looking at extremely large increases in your ask, and yet there doesn't seem to be any corresponding increase in the population number served.
There's a difference, and I saw that myself between the request last year. Evidently, and this was erroneous, they were including populations that we were working with at community festivals and events, which we are not doing at this moment because we cannot measure their outcomes. And apparently that was going on for a few years, and I've been advised of it. The practice has stopped, and we will not be doing that again. Okay. So that's why the budget is different and smaller.
But are you going to give us corrected numbers?
Yes, we can do that as well. Yes, in fact, for 2017, I've been working with Jessica and working on that.
And when did you come on board?
I started in January. So.
Is that it? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Evanston Scholars. We're ahead of schedule, in case anybody wants to know, which is very unusual.
Hello. My name is Kay Israelite. Excuse my voice. I'm the Director of Development for Evanston Scholars. We are located at 1234 Sherman Avenue, Suite 214 in Evanston. You can read more about us at our website, which is www.evanstonscholars.org, and we're definitely looking for volunteers, especially mentors, so definitely check that out if you're interested. So just a little bit about Evanston Scholars. We are a college access and success program. We work with ETHS students starting late in their sophomore year, and we help them not only get to college with programming in their high school years, but we work with them all the way until they graduate college, so at least an additional 4 years, and we stay with them until graduation. We serve students who will be the first in their families to graduate college, so first generation, and low income, which we define as qualify for free and reduced lunch. We were founded in 2011. Our executive director is Steve Newman. He couldn't be here tonight. He is a longtime English teacher at ETHS and basically founded Evanston Scholars after seeing too many of his students who had gone off to college come back the next year and say, it didn't work out. And there's so many reasons that it doesn't work out, and that's what Evanston Scholars is addressing in Evanston. Nationally, when he looked at the research, he found that unfortunately, only at national level, only 11% of students of first generation and low income students who do go to college graduate. So that's a really horrible statistic, and it really tells you that it's definitely not enough to just go to college. There's a lot there in the college part. We do work closely with the high school and the guidance counselors there, but what we really are differentiated by is our work helping students succeed all the way through. Who do we serve? We serve students who do want to go to college and earn a college degree, and we have a minimum GPA of 2.7. We have served 200 students. That's a big milestone for us. It's amazing. In 2011, we had 10 students, so we've really grown. And thank you so much to City of Evanston and CDBG for the support that you've given us over the years. We really are grateful for that. We currently have around 80 in high school in those two classes, and then the rest are in college. So it's interesting over the years how really the shift is naturally then going to college in our programming. We are really proud of our students and happy to report that our college persistence rate is 96%. And that's just so that means that any Evanston scholar who has started college is persisting at a rate of 96%. And I have to tell you, it's not an easy number. There's a lot of stories behind that statistic. Just one example is we had a student who is now a college graduate come back and talk to our new class of high school students, and she told a story about how she almost dropped out. She had a misunderstanding and a tuition payment, and she didn't have the money to pay it, and she was scared to tell her parents. They were going to be devastated. She as a first generation student, she said that she felt overwhelmed and even embarrassed to go to the financial aid office at her college and tell them about it. Fortunately, she had a really close relationship with her mentor, her Evanston Scholars mentor, and she did mention it to her Evanston Scholars mentor, who raised the flag and said, this is not right, we're going to help you with this. And so she helped her make an appointment with the financial aid office, and she was able to work it out. And she she was able to work it out and graduate from college. So she attributed that moment to her Evanston Scholars support network. And that's really how we're getting to that 96%, is through a really tight network of support. A lot of our students even refer to it as their Evanston Scholars family. And what makes that up is obviously their parents. Number one, they're involved from the beginning. Our mentors, we have a one-on-one mentor relationship for every single student. A mentor can be anyone who has completed a college degree. So we have a really wide range. We have very recent college grads and we have retirees. So we have a full range. And that team, along with the Evanston Scholars staff, helps support the student. In high school, it's really about learning the ropes and getting through that really complex college application process, essays, most of all financial aid, selecting a college, and then really ongoing support through the college years, keeping that close relationship so that when you do run into that obstacle, you do feel comfortable telling someone about it and getting help. Let's see. So we are, again, grateful for CDBG. In the past, you have funded our ACT prep, which is part of the high school process, and that's really important for helping our students get scholarships that will help them pay for college and help them get a good college match. This year, we are increasing our ask for due to both our growth in the program in terms of number of students and also the growth in the program itself and providing additional services. So some of the things that we're expanding is our college advising in the high school years, helping students when needed with college application fees. Even after waivers are submitted and so on, there's still fees that can create barriers. Sending score reports, college visits. One program that we're hoping to expand is diversity training. We've worked with Dr. Gilo Logan, and that's been really successful this year, and we really want to expand upon that. And he's worked with us to work with both the students directly, and he's provided some training with them to help develop their academic, their cultural identity as it pertains to college. That's been really helpful and well received. And then also he works with our mentors and our staff on diversity training and cultural awareness. So we really want to grow that program. Then the final thing is our mental health. We have found working with students so closely that often the root cause for problems in college does boil down to mental health. And while we're not a mental health provider, we do want to be able to refer our students and have the right policies in place so that our staff knows what to do when those problems arise. So that actually concludes my presentation. But thanks again for your past support, and can I answer any questions?
I have a question, and I'm sorry I didn't ask staff to put this to you earlier, so I don't mean it to sound like a gotcha. But I'm curious, as you've had participants graduate from college, how many of them are coming back to Evanston and paying taxes here? I'm just curious.
Okay, that's a great question. Actually, I was maybe going to mention, a lot of our students do tell us that they want to come back to Evanston. I mean, we're still pretty new. We only have 14 college grads right now. And actually, one of them, she was living with her parents, and she actually did just get an apartment in Chicago. So I'm not sure about that. However, though, that person is actually serving on our board of directors. So they are really staying connected with the community. So of our 14 college grads, we have one serving on the board of directors, and we have another one who right away signed up to be a mentor. So we're really optimistic just based on that and what students are telling us, that like we've really had students say, like, I want to be a mentor for Evanston Scholars, or I want to donate to Evanston Scholars when I graduate from college. So I'm hopeful that will eventually lead to a positive answer to your question.
That is way cool.
Yeah, we're excited about that for sure.
Yeah.
Peter?
Okay, just a quick budgeting question. 2018, you're showing a significant jump in your personnel cost, and it looks like you're cutting some of your program costs. And I think in your presentation, you mentioned expanding your program. So help me understand that.
I would say, I mean, really our program is mainly about the people. It's mainly, the program really is the personnel. So I guess the way this is broken out, the personnel is all of our staff, and then those programs would be any other ancillary costs, like, buses for college visits, or the tutoring company that we hire for ACT programming. So when we talk about expanding the program, you would see an increase in personnel, because that's really so that would be just, moving someone to full-time, hiring the additional, we group the students into what we call pods, and we want to hire an additional pod leader on the high school side. So it really is more about expanding the personnel.
I'm curious about the mental health funding. So you're requesting $12,500, and $10,000 of that is for this consultant to come in, but only $2,500 is directly related to mental health referrals and training. So I'm wondering why there's a greater emphasis on the former rather than the latter when you're applying for mental health funds to cover that.
Well, the mental health funds, we did a lot of work in the previous year we worked with some consultants from the Family Institute to set up some of our basic processes and referrals. So we feel like that we have a pretty good foundation in place. So we're not really creating that from scratch this year, but we've basically just continuing to use them as a resource, but not really sort of building up something new, but just ongoing help for referrals. Whereas the diversity piece, we feel it's, tied to mental health in terms of helping students with their, identity and getting a really, really strong foundation in high school before they go. And that's the piece that we're trying to build up more.
And the $10,000 for this consultant, what time frame is this over? Is this like
for a year, yeah. Okay. And that would be multiple workshops. So we have monthly workshops, so that would be involvement in probably every workshop. to help either present directly or guide the curriculum.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Jocelyn Center?
Good evening. My name is Susan Resco, and I'm the president of the Joslin Center. Our phone number is 847-441-5600. We're located at 405 Central in Northfield, and our website is joslin.org. Joslin Center is a outpatient community mental health center. We were founded in 1951. Just to give you a very brief history of community mental health, it was in 1963 that John F. Kennedy signed the Community Mental Health Act, which brought people with mental illness back to the community to receive care within the community and supported by friends and loved ones. Joslin Center was started a full dozen years before the Community Mental Health Act. We were started by a visionary child psychiatrist, Irene Joslin, and ever since that time, child psychiatry has been very important to us. We provide 60% of our services are counseling or therapeutic, followed by psychiatry, case management. We have some supportive services such as a living room and drop-in. We have a therapeutic day camp in the summer called Camp Nika for children ages 8 to 12. And recently this year, we just started an art therapy program and hired 4 art therapists and renovated a room to create an art therapy room. So why am I here today in Evanston? Basically, it's because our clients live in Evanston. 5% or 56 clients live in Evanston. And they're coming to the Joslin Center because, as I'm sure you know, community mental health services, especially for low-income people, is just very scarce. But it's not very hard for them to get to us. From downtown Evanston, one would take the Purple Line to Linden, and then there's a bus that goes straight out Willow, and there's actually several bus stops right at the corner of Willow and Hap, and that's how a lot of our clients get to us. 75% of our services are provided to Medicaid recipients. We offer a sliding scale fee, and it's based on income. We are very committed to making sure that our services are affordable. One of the most important things that we do is provide outpatient psychiatry. You all may know there is a severe shortage of psychiatrists in the United States, and the shortage is even greater with child psychiatrists. Even those who have private insurance or can afford to pay out of pocket still have long wait lists. And at the Joslin Center, we're able to get people in within a day or two. We started a new telepsychiatry program this year to address the shortage and to improve access. And our clients are absolutely loving it. We have a survey that we give them, and the average rating is a 4.8 out of 5. So they come out of the telepsychiatry room with big smiles on their face. I have to admit, the first time they go in, some of them are a little nervous. They've never done a telehealth seminar, but they almost to a person come out saying, "That was great." That's one of the ways that we are committed to serving the psychiatric needs. Another way is that we are dramatically increasing the therapeutic services that we provide. One of the questions that I received today is, what if there was a 25% increase in clients? Well, we are actually predicting a 40% increase in our client base this year. We've been seeing that throughout 2017, and through the first 2 months of our new fiscal year. So we are very prepared to receive the influx in clients. We have hired people in advance so that they are able to get in within a day or two of their phone call, sometimes even the same day, depending on their availability. What differentiates Joslyn, in addition to the fact that we're able to see people very quickly, is that we have a very, very strong focus on quality. We've started to map our quality against national standards. And for people with mental illness, the average hospitalization rate is anywhere from 10 to 12% across the country, depending on the type of hospitalization. At Joslyn, our clients have a 5 or 6% rate, so we are almost half the national average, and that's one of the indicators that we look at as a quality indicator, in addition to client satisfaction and a number of other indicators. So I'm here tonight as a first time to ask you to partner with us in providing community mental health services to the residents of Evanston. Community mental health is the first point of entry and often prevents somebody from requiring more acute services such as day hospitalization or the ER services or inpatient. And it is the goal of the Joslyn Center to be there before the point of crisis. Thank you.
Do you have any plans to have an outpost in Evanston?
At this point, no, we don't. But what we are doing, we have a capital campaign going on. And a portion of the money is allocated towards innovative programming. So we have an ad hoc committee that is analyzing where our services are most needed. We do anticipate a satellite office, and we're just looking at the data, and we'll be looking over that for the next year or two.
How long have you been in Joslyn?
I've been there 2 years. Yes.
What percentage of the work there is telepsychiatry?
Well, our total psychiatry program is it's about a third of what we do. So the telepsychiatry, let's see, let me just do the math in my head. It's about maybe a third of the total psychiatry. So we do have a psychiatrist on staff about 28 hours a week, and then the psychiatry program, I think we have about 14 or 16 hours of a telepsychiatrist.
So you have an adult psychiatrist?
We have a child psychiatrist in the building, and then the adult psychiatrist is remote.
Oh, okay.
I have one other question here. Perhaps the number is wrong. What percent of the Evanston residents that you serve are low or moderate income? It says 2% in here. I'm wondering if that's incorrect, or is that the number?
That doesn't sound right. I'll get back to you on that. But I can tell you overall that 97% of our clients qualify for a sliding scale fee based on income. So
of all your clients?
Of all of our clients.
North Shore.
I don't know that doesn't sound right, though.
Yeah, it seemed incredibly low.
Yeah, I'll check on that and get back to you.
Thank you.
When did Evanston residents start accessing services?
They've been coming for years, for as you know, a long, long time. And this is the first year that we're here.
For a person not on the mental health board, I wish all you mental health people would plug your ears, because I don't, why, other than the prescribing medication, what is the reason a person would go to a psychiatrist versus to a psychologist or therapist?
Well, that is the reason for medication monitoring. Therapist typically will do therapeutic interventions, whether it's through face-to-face or art therapy. Psychiatry, for the past several decades, because of the severe shortage, are really focused on the medication monitoring.
But don't a lot of, psychologists also will then treat a person and then refer them to a psychiatrist for prescribing medication?
That's right.
Maybe once every 6 months.
That's right. Some psychiatrists in private practice will also do therapy, but it's such an expensive service that for a good number of years, most psychiatrists are just focused on the medicine. But we believe in comprehensive care. We believe that it's important for somebody else to be connecting with that person besides that brief medication visit.
Interesting. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much. YOU. Or it's Nicole. Yes, it's fine.
Good evening. I'm Marianne Moberly. I'm the Interim Executive Director at YOU, Youth and Opportunity United, and we're located at 1911 Church Street in Evanston. And you could reach us by calling 847-866-1200 or by accessing our website, www.youthopportunity.org. You can locate any staff member on that website and locate their email address. I should also mention that we do have a volunteer program. We piloted a program last year, and we're building out a very robust program, so we will have numerous volunteer opportunities available. Potential is universal, and opportunity is not. YOU's job is to help fill the opportunity gap. Now, what is the opportunity gap? In the 1970s, low-income families and upper-income families were spending the same amount of money on after-school activities and tutoring. That was $400 a year. There was no gap. Today, upper-income families are spending $5,000 per child. Low-income families are spending $500 per child. So there's a $4,500 gap in terms of expenses. 2/3 of parents cannot afford, low-income parents cannot afford to place their children in after-school programs. How do we fill this gap? We provide out-of-school time programming and summer learning programs for over 1,600 youth at 11 school-based sites. 8 of those are in Evanston. 85% of the youth that we serve come from limited income households. And all of our services are provided at no cost. Our integrated, we just went through a strategic planning process last year, and as part of that process, we adopted one big goal, and that goal is to help youth achieve post-secondary and life success. We have an integrated strategy that we are referring to as the ABCs of YOU. The A strategy is advancing youth success through our out-of-school time programming. And last year, our evaluation showed that 85% of the youth that we serve either maintained or increased their academic performance. Our B strategy is building youth resilience. And last year, 93% of youth that were engaged in our program said that they gained more self-confidence through participation in our program. And then we're also catalyzing parent networks, which means that we're engaging parents as leaders and advocates in their children's education. 88% of parents last year said that YOU helped them feel more connected to their children's academic performance. The money that we're receiving that we're proposing to receive from the Mental Health Board will be used to support our efforts to build youth resilience. YOU is unique in its approach and delivery of service to youth. We provide a holistic model of care in settings that are familiar to youth and their families. So all of our schools are school-based programs. Youth are not transported. They attend our program immediately after the school day within the school. Our mental health supports are embedded into our after-school program, and our program is supported by licensed clinicians at every site. Our staff and clinicians are trained in how to develop deep, positive relationships with youth and to support youth dealing with trauma and social-emotional hardship. In addition, we help youth develop their social-emotional skills and resilience through individual and group counseling and psychoeducational groups. And I'd like to just give you a brief snapshot of one of those groups that was very successful this past year. It's a outdoor education group called FOX, which stands for Future Outdoor Explorers. It's led by a clinician and one of our after-school program managers. In addition to teaching youth the skills around camping, it also worked on the soft skills like mindfulness and patience and working as in teams. And it culminated with a dozen youth going to on a 4-day adventure trip to Mammoth Caves in Kentucky. As I said, all of our programs are offered at no cost, and that program was offered at no cost to our youth. The YMCA has wonderful similar programs that cost thousands of dollars, so we were able to offer that through YOU. In our proposal, we are proposing to serve 750 youth through our trauma-informed youth and family services program. The youth are at all of Title I schools in Evanston, so that would be Chute, Dawes, ETHS, King Arts, Nichols, Oakton, Walker, and Washington. In addition to our proposal to the Mental Health Board, we're also a first-time applicant for Community Development Block Grant funds through the Public Services category. This really stems from the transformation that we went through personally this past year by moving into a new facility at 1911 Church Street. And what this facility allowed us to do was to build out youth spaces that we were not previously able to do in our previous facility, and to offer some very transformative programs for youth. It also allowed us to spark new partnerships. A key goal when we moved into the building was to be a good neighbor and to partner with the local community. We've hosted over 75 meetings and events in our space since we moved in, and that includes accommodating partners, neighborhood groups like the Fifth Ward meeting, and our youth and families. Our STEAM for Team application is looking to help support activities in our makerspace. And Chris Essex is recently hired as our maker manager. We're hoping with this program to serve 100 youth in the surrounding community. It was great to hear Colette talk about all the activities that Family Focus is, all the STEAM-related opportunities and programs. This space is really geared towards teens. And so in addition to working with teens that are in our after-school program, we're going to be reaching out to the local community, also working with ETHS. We'll be offering one-day workshops, multi-day workshops. We've already have partnerships with some local providers in the community. We have a culinary program, and we're working with 3 chefs in the community to come in and provide classes, not just to our youth, but to community residents as well. So this is a new initiative for us. Chris started a month ago, not quite a month ago. It's a really exciting opportunity for him to build out this space, and we're really eager to work with the community to provide these kinds of programs.
So, thank you. Any questions? Peter?
Just a quick question
Yeah.
regarding your budget. So looking at 2017 versus 2018, you're showing a significant drop in personnel. So just
Is that our overall budget?
yeah.
Which, for CDBG or for the, I don't know what, we have two different applications, so I'm
Right,
not
so
sure.
it would be the first application. In 2017, you're showing your personnel staff at 1.2 million, and in 2018, you're showing it at 646.
Oh, in the mental health board application.
Correct.
Okay, yes, that is because in the past, we actually asked for funding to support our broader after-school program, and this year, we're actually asking to support our clinical program. So that's a portion of the larger program, and that's why it's showing a drop in the budget.
So it's a program budget you're looking
A program within a larger program.
I guess I'm still a little confused because it says personnel.
So the personnel that we're requesting funding for are the personnel that work specifically with our clinical program. In the past, we just presented a larger budget that included our after-school program. So that's the difference. It's a much more focused budget and a much more focused request. And I think one of the reasons that we did that is because we wanted to do a better job on reporting outcomes, and also because we are requesting money from the mental health board, and these are specifically mental health services.
In looking at your overall numbers and knowing YOU's history, the organization has shown a remarkable capacity to raise funds. And I would like to give you the opportunity to tell us, since you don't charge for the programs anyway, what benefit there is in allotting, in particular, CDBG funding for YOU's programming, when we have so many other organizations whose programs are just as vital and not nearly as attractive to potential donors. So they have a harder time raising those funds.
Yeah.
I'd like to give you the opportunity to speak to where that benefit should come in for.
Sure. I mean, we have been very successful in our fundraising. As many of you know, we completed a 3-year capital campaign a year ago, a little bit more than a year ago, and we were very successful in meeting those campaign goals. We raised money for really 3 pillars. One was for program, one was for financial sustainability, and we were able to establish, for the first time in an almost 50-year history, an endowment. So we now have a $2 million endowment. In next year's budget, for the first time, it will actually be generating some income, but our goal is to really build that budget or build that endowment over time so that it can be a much greater income producer for us for our annual budget. The other big piece of that campaign was our building, and our building was $5.7 million. We did end up taking out a small mortgage on the building, but we're still paying off the cost of that building, and we have maintenance costs. So our budget that budget has actually increased. I would say in terms of why the city should fund the Maker Lab and the Maker Space through CDBG funding, it's very similar to what some of the other organizations have said. Yes, we have raised private funds, and we do have some private funds that are supporting that, but it's not covering the entire budget, and it's not covering everything that we want to do in that space. And we are serving a local community that's in a target area, and we're serving a target population for the funding. So it helps us leverage money from private individuals to show that we have local and public support as well. So the leverage piece is very important.
Thank you.
Question.
So you are located in a targeted area, but you are going to be providing is it the trauma services for families only to families that are in Title I schools, which do not include the youth that are in the targeted area?
No, so they're two separate applications.
Right.
So the STEAM is for STEAM is for Teens program is really focused on providing services to youth that live in the Fifth Ward, which is a targeted area. Our programs are at 8 locations throughout the community, and actually most of our programs are located in areas that are CDBG targeted areas. Most of those schools are in those areas, but we're actually talking about serving youth from that surrounding community.
Okay, I'm sorry, I thought I heard you mention that you would be serving kids in the Title I school. So which program was that for?
That's the mental health board funding, the trauma-informed program.
Okay, so is there any way that you can include the children that are in the Fifth Ward in that service, since you're located in the Fifth Ward?
Well, our program is a school-based program, and the primary funding for that program comes from a program called the 21st Century Program. Those funds only go to schools that are Title I schools, and so the bulk of those services are funded through that government program. So we don't have funding to, each site costs us around $200,000 to run, or $200,000 plus, and we're getting $125,000 from the federal government. So we're raising all of those funds in addition to the cost of to make up the cost of the program.
Are you going to add something? I don't feel like my question was asked.
Oh.
Hi, I'm Melody Rose. I'm the director of our clinical and outreach services with YOU, and I wanted to offer a point of clarification that
Thank
all
you.
services that we offer are trauma-informed. Our staff are steeped in trauma-informed training. We just underwent a 3-hour training earlier this week, and so every interaction that we have with any youth in our community, as well as any opportunity that we have to interact with our parents and other community members, the trauma-informed system applies in all of those lenses. So while there are 2 different applications, it's still important to know that every service that we provide is through a trauma-informed lens.
Can I be clear, or can you give me clarification? The $100,000 that you're requesting for the trauma, what is it?
Trauma-informed
Is that specific to children that are in Title I schools?
It's specific to those youth as well as the program that is in the makerspace. So in both applications, those will be trauma-informed services that are provided. So there's not an exclusive area in the Title I schools. Those services are all trauma-informed, as well as the services offered out of our building as well. So what that means is that there is counselor support at all of those areas, and we serve as consultants with that, and we also serve as people who provide individual, family, and group therapy. So that part continues both through our counseling program at our sites, as well as the support that we offer through our outreach program that offers a drop-in space at our main office, as well as the new endeavors we'll be having within the Fifth Ward to serve additional students.
The children that live in the Fifth Ward will not be able to receive the same full benefits as the children in the Title I schools, though, because they don't qualify for all the programming. Is that accurate?
They would not be attending the after-school program in the traditional way, because the Makerspace program is specific towards workshops and additional ways to engage students that we haven't engaged before.
Do any of those kids go to any of the Title I schools?
The children in the, do you want to speak to that?
Well, there are a number of students. Well, first of all, ETHS. We have a program in ETHS, so of course that would cover everybody who lives in the city of Evanston.
Because it's all Title I grade schools plus ETHS.
And middle
That is
schools.
covered by the grade.
And middle schools.
Right.
In addition, we do serve King Arts with the program, and there are a number of students at King Arts who live in the Fifth Ward as well. There are some opportunities during our summer learning program for students in the Fifth Ward to be involved, particularly at the high school level, of course.
Okay.
Yes.
Is Kingsley a Title I school?
No, it used to be a Title I school. They used to actually receive the 21st Century funds about maybe 8 years ago. And Family Focus actually had a program there.
Those kids are out of college now. So the Shore Community Services, Lois Lloyd Center, and you're going to also do the residential program.
Good evening. I'm from Shore Community Services. Our phone number is area code 847-982-2030. We operate various locations in Evanston, Skokie, and Morton Grove, with our administrative offices located at 8350 Laramie Avenue in Skokie. Our website is shoreservices.org. Also speaking tonight will be Lisa Wright, our Chief Operating Officer of Shore Koenig Training Center, Kirsten Luna, our Director of Shore Residential Services, and Jerry Berg, an Evanston resident who receives services from Shore. I am Debbie Schulroff, Director of the Shore Lois Lloyd Center. In my capacity, I oversee 3 programs: early intervention, adult services including seniors, and Life in Motion. Shore has applied for funding for the latter 2 programs. On behalf of the individuals and staff at Shore Lois Lloyd Center, I would like to thank the Evanston Mental Health Board for its continued support of our program. After relocating last year, it has been a year of growth and change for the Lois Lloyd Center. In August, we expanded our program for the seniors who were at the Shore Koenig Training Center. These individuals have made the choice to retire from employment but still wish to participate in leisure activities. The Lois Lloyd Center offers them full access to the building and opportunities to select activities which they wish to attend in the multipurpose room, visiting our sensory room for some R&R, and selecting community integration experiences which best suit their desires. Staff and family support allows all individuals at the Lois Lloyd Center to identify his or her particular interests, preferences, strengths, skills, and supports needed to ensure their life is rich and fulfilling as they desire. A second exciting program addition is the introduction of the Life in Motion program. This is a pilot program which will be expanded over the next few years to include all individuals at the Adult Services and Seniors program. This program empowers individuals to make informed decisions about how they spend their day in the community, volunteering, job shadowing, and participating in other activities which promote the achievement of greater independence and a higher quality of life. Some activities include attending a book club at the library, stocking shelves at the local food pantry, petting dogs and cats waiting for adoption in an animal shelter, visiting local restaurants, museums, parks, bowling, and movies, just to name a few. The state of Illinois is moving towards person-centered plans. Shore is being proactive in changing its focus to be more person-centered. We are currently providing services to nearly 90 individuals with intellectual and other developmental disabilities. Approximately half the individuals are non-ambulatory, and 80% need some type of assistance with activities of daily living, including eating and toileting. Our developmental training staff includes DSPs, direct service professionals, a developmental activity trainer, a full-time nurse, and program managers. The developmental activities trainer plans daily and weekly enrichment activities, including arts and crafts, music appreciation, literature hour, health and wellness, cooking, community integration activities, karaoke, which is always a big hit, horticulture, and other enrichment activities. Our nurse is able to dispense daily medication, including insulin and G-tube feedings, along with attending to other medical needs that arise with any of the individuals. Our program manager assists and trains staff in developing personal outcomes for each individual, as well as exploring community integration opportunities that individuals wish to participate in. I would be happy to answer any questions anyone has.
Any questions? You lost a few people. Any
No?
questions? Anybody?
Then I will turn it over to Lisa Wright, our Chief Operating Officer of Shore Koenig Training Center.
Of what?
I'm with Shore Koenig Training Center. It's a division of Shore Community Services. My name is Lisa Wright. Shore is seeking support for our vocational training program in order to provide community experiences to more individuals. We served 168 individuals, 35 of which reside in Evanston. Last year, 49 of the 168 people received services in the community in the form of volunteering, job shadowing, informational interviews, and short-term community work experiences. We also assisted individuals in seeking and maintaining employment by helping with resume development, job applications, interviewing skills, and providing support after hire. As part of this program, we are collaborating with Kurt's Cafe in Evanston. Our trainees shadow a Kurt's Cafe worker in order to learn firsthand what working in a restaurant is like, and then they participate in a mock interview. We have developed other job shadowing and volunteer sites as well, such as the Red Door Animal Shelter and Skokie Home Delivered Meals for Volunteering and Niles North High School for job shadowing. Funding is being sought from CDBG for the positions of Community Program Manager and Job Coach. Our goal is to provide community experiences to more individuals. These opportunities are provided with a close staff-to-client ratio, and we would be grateful for additional financial support. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
So the goal is actually a job placement?
Yes, ultimately, yes. We want to broaden people's experiences, get them out into the community.
And are there any placements now?
I'm sorry?
Are there any placements now? I'm sorry.
Oh, yes.
There are.
Yes. And like I said, 49 people last year were provided some sort of supported employment or short-term community work or volunteering. So.
Sorry. Very quickly, in building this program, have you liaised with other organizations in the area doing similar things? I know that your population is specific, but for example, I think of what is no longer called the iWork program from, oh my gosh, their name just ran out of my head. But, iWork, thank you. It used to be Housing Opportunities, and it's Impact now. Thank you. Have you liaised with them to leverage potential strengths across activities? I know they're different populations,
Right.
but I'm
well,
thinking.
we do collaborate with a number of agencies that provide services to people with developmental disabilities. So because that's our population. So we work with Orchard Village, Avenues for Independence, Active Visions. Achieve Developmental Center. We have a lot.
That's good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kirsten Luna, the Director of Residential Services. Shore Residential Services provides quality services in our residential capacity, through our home-based services, through our in-home respite to adults and children with developmental disabilities. Within the past fiscal year, we served 97 individuals in our respite program. 35 of these were Evanston residents. The Evanston residents participated in our Shore Bueller House, our supported living arrangement, our home-based support program, and our respite program. And it's for these programs that we are seeking additional funding. Our supported living arrangement consists of our Patricia Lloyd Townhomes in Evanston, which is a townhome complex with 5 units, currently serving 8 residents. In the past, our program manager had lived in the center unit, but now lives off-site, giving the opportunity for 2 more residents to move in there. Our program manager provides individualized programming according to the needs of each of the 8 residents at the townhomes, but also to 8 additional people living in community housing in the community that just need those extra supports to be successful. The program manager also provides supervision to the personal support worker who implements the supports, such as help with grocery shopping, budgeting, going on medical appointments, nutrition training, whatever it is that the individual requires. The main goal of the Shore SLA is to help people to be as independent as possible and hopefully weaned free of some of our services because they are so independent. Most of our residents at the townhomes could not afford market range housing and are only able to live there comfortably because of our graduated rent scale. Should Shore or SLA have to close, most of our residents would either have to move back home with their families, move into a more restrictive setting, or possibly be homeless. So for this reason, we're seeking additional services to keep our programming going and so that we can continue to hire really quality staff. Our Shore Homes East Bueller House in Evanston serves 12 Evanston residents and requires 24-hour care 7 days a week for all of those residents in as normalized an environment as possible. We make great efforts to integrate them into the community. They love leisure and recreation activities such as going to the Evanston Library, going to the beach, going to the movies, participating in New Year Co-ed's Y events, Center for Enriched Living. Unfortunately, the Bueller House has not received a per diem rate increase in 5 years and is currently operating at a deficit. So we are seeking additional funds so as to keep this program going. Lastly, Shore Homes Home-Based Support Program and our Respite Program is something that people in the community are continuing to really value. This program helps caregivers in the community that have a developmental disability family member who needs extra supports to enrich their lives, and also allows the caregiver to take a break so as to avoid having to put their family member into a residential setting. It also helps with people that have been able to move into the community, but to be successful need some degree of support services. So it's still a very necessary service. So during the past year in our home-based support program, we grew to 40 people, and 17 of those are Evanston residents, and 54% of our respite program are Evanston participants. So we're seeking additional funding to keep that program going and to pay our staff. I don't know if you'd like to answer questions now. I've also brought along Jerry Berg, who has been an Evanstonian and an SLA community member since 1979. He's worked very hard and gained many independent living skills. We're very proud of him. He's been competitively employed for 20 years with the help of Shore Koenig Center job coaching. He currently works at Goodwill Services in Evanston, and he also works part-time at Shore doing janitorial.
After Jerry talks, I'll have some questions. So
Okay.
we want to hear from him.
Yes, of course. So this is his second time coming and speaking to the Evanston Mental Health Board, and we're very glad to have him here. So, Jerry,
My
take
name
over.
My name is Jerry Berg. I live in
Jerry, will you talk into the microphone? Because we all want to, the folks at home in the audience want to hear you.
Okay, I live in Evanston for 20 years. I work for Goodwill for 4 years. I work at Shore, part-time maintenance person. I used to work for Shore Community Services at the training center doing maintenance, and then I'm on I'm on a community doing Goodwill maintenance.
Thank you, Jerry. All right, if you have any questions, I'd love to answer them.
Would you repeat the statistic? You said about 40 people, and then you said...
Oh,
certain
40
number-
people are served all together in our home-based program, and 17 of them are Evanston residents.
Well, what do you mean by home-based program?
Okay, the home-based program, it's a waiver program, and the people that receive that funding have an award letter through DHS. And so as an adult, you get $2,022 a month that can be used towards support services. So they don't actually receive the money. The money is set aside for us to bill to give them support services.
Does that go to the people, for example, in the Patricia Lloyd
They do. We have
townhouses?
3 people
Okay.
that have it. That's not too many, though.
No.
Where
All
they're
right,
on-
so how many people live there? You said 7, 9?
There's 8 at the Patricia Lloyd townhomes, but we hope to have 10 because we
Okay,
have
because of
2
the 2
vacancies.
people, right,
Yes.
okay. What about the other facility in Evanston, the other home?
Shore Homes East Bueller House.
Okay, is that on South Boulevard?
Yeah, it's close to it's Michigan, actually,
Michigan,
right there.
okay.
But you're right, Michigan and South Boulevard.
Okay, so that's been there for a while, too.
It has, yes.
How many units, how many people are there?
12.
12, right. See, we don't think about that as being, I mean, it's housing for people with certain needs, but that is also affordable housing. I mean, we have to.
It is. It's
We
a hub
definitely have to
project.
look at that as all those people are receiving housing who could otherwise not be
That's right.
able to afford it living in the community.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a really good thing.
That's true.
And so how do you think it's going to work, moving the caregiver or the supervisor out of the Patricia Lloyd home?
Okay, well,
People are
the
going to be
person's
able to-
already out.
Yeah.
So we had 2 people that were elderly then, and they ended up needing a different sort of support service. We also have stairs there. So I think it does affect a little bit who we're choosing to live in there, now that there isn't somebody directly on site. But generally, our people are independent enough to live there with support services, basically coming in daily.
In the
People are
daytime,
checking on them. And they all definitely have our phone numbers and would call if something comes up. So
That's great.
we're in contact.
Oops.
Real quick
Peter,
question,
sure.
I apologize for stepping out during the presentation and looking at
No problem.
the dip from your 2017, 2018 numbers, looking at the client payment program fees.
Oh, you mean there's a different numbers? You know what it is we used to include more of our programming numbers that are like for Skokie and all that. And so now we were sticking more specifically to the ones that are serving Evanston residents, since this is the Evanston Mental Health Board. So that would make sense.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you
work.
very much.
Keep it up. North Shore Senior Center.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Jordan Luer. I'm the Executive Director at the North Shore Senior Center. We're located at 161 Northfield Road in Northfield. We also have offices which actually serve Evanston residents at 7900 North Milwaukee in Niles. We also, as you probably noticed when you came down here, we have space here in the Civic Center. We'll talk about that. That's a little bit about our program. Our website, www.nssc.org. Phone number is 847-784-6000. First of all, I appreciate you folks spending as much time as you did today. And while we are last, I also appreciate that because I was able to have a great dinner with my colleagues. So thank you. I have with me Kathy Honeywell, who is our Director of Senior and Family Services, and Liz Gordon, who is our Director of our Care Options Program. So we'll walk through these 3 programs separately so that if you have questions, we can kind of keep those separate. The first program is to support our senior and family services work here in Evanston. And it really is focused on supporting the costs directly associated with our work here in Evanston. 2 years ago, we had all of our satellite office located here in Evanston for space reasons, et cetera. We moved that to Niles. Those folks continue to provide the same services as they always have to individuals in their homes here in Evanston. But what we also did at that time was we dedicated specific staff for the city of Evanston. So we have somebody who's here at this office. We also have part-time or a portion of a person's time for older adult benefits, and we have a good number of volunteers who work right out of the office here in Evanston. This particular program, I will tell you, we've certainly been fortunate enough to receive funding from the Mental Health Board for a number of years. We appreciate that. This program we consider to be really the heart and soul of the North Shore Senior Center. So this serves low-income, poverty-level seniors, helps them remain in their homes. If you are an older adult on Medicaid or dual eligible, in need of services, you would be served by us. So we are the only agency that does the community care program designated by the state of Illinois here for Evanston. So with that, I will turn this over to Kathy, and she can describe a little bit more of the services, and then we can kind of take questions if there are any.
Thank you. North Shore Senior Center has established and maintains an office here at the Civic Center, as Jordan referred to. This was established in March of 2016 and has quickly become a great support to Evanston residents. Tom Giller and his team of volunteers work out of this office. Tom is North Shore Senior Center's Evanston Social Services Manager. His caseload is comprised of Evanston residents only. He has a master's degree in social work, and this year, actually recently, he earned his licensed clinical social worker license. He's stationed primarily here at the Civic Center, but he also provides outreach and case management services to residents at Ebenezer Prim Towers, Senior Housing, Levy Center. He makes visits to Fleetwood Jourdain Center and other Evanston facilities on an as-needed basis. Tom co-facilitates a monthly support group at the Levy Center for people experiencing low vision. He also serves on several committees and organizations throughout the city. The Evanston Commission on Aging, Levy Center Advisory Board, where he's the current chair, and the Joining Forces for Affordable Housing. Tom receives referrals from the city of Evanston. He receives 311 calls. And that require follow-up with residents. And since he's located here, he's able to see people who walk in without an appointment. And so there's regular traffic throughout his office, and right across the hall is the office where the volunteers work with people to apply for benefits. There are 6 volunteers. Most are Evanston residents. They help residents secure up to 20 different benefits. Some of those include benefits access, which provides the seniors and adults with disabilities ride-free card and a license plate discount. LIHEAP, which is the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program. And last year, benefits secured for Evanston residents totaled $144,581 just in the LIHEAP program. They also help people with SHIP, which is the Senior Health Insurance Program, Medicaid, SNAP, just to name a few. For residents who have difficulties getting to the Evanston Civic Center, we also have a volunteer who spends an afternoon a week at the Levy Center helping people apply for benefits access. Our older adults benefits specialist position has expanded to provide that specific person here 2 days a week. The older adults benefits specialist provides support and training to our volunteers and also works with the clients who have more complex situations that may need more intensive follow-up and advocacy. That person has a master's degree in social work and also is prepared to work with people who are under great stress. Needing financial assistance is stressful. Finding yourself in crisis because of a insurance issue or needing to apply for services is stressful. So that person is trained to work with those issues and provide emotional support. The combination of the Evanston Social Services Manager and the Older Adults Benefits Specialist, it's unique. I mean, it's a unique offering that we provide in the city of Evanston, and I think it provides great value to the city and all the residents. Tom, our volunteers, and the older adults benefit specialists don't work in a vacuum. The rest of our staff in senior and family services are providing services to people in their homes, providing assessment and case management services, health and wellness programs, caregiver support, respite, various support groups, and benefits assistance. We collaborate with the city as well as many other social service organizations to ensure that we're maximizing services for clients in the most efficient way possible. We thank the Mental Health Board for your previous support, and do you have any questions about this particular?
Pretty good explanation.
Okay.
We won't have Kathy go too far. The second request we have is for our Grandparents Raising Grandchildren program. This is the second year we've asked for these funds. I just want to, again, make sure it's understood this is separate from the previous request, so there's no overlap. This is a separate program run here. A vital program, I think, to our organization and certainly vital to the people that we serve with its focus on grandparents, in some cases great-grandparents, and a whole host of children. And so Kathy can give you some of the demographics on that.
So the Grandparents Raising Grandchildren group started in the 1990s, and it's grown into a comprehensive program to assist these special families. Right now, we're currently working with 28 families, 27 grandmothers, 1 grandfather, and 84 grandchildren. And the children range from birth to age 18. When they turn 18, they graduate from the program. 22 of the grandmothers live in Evanston. Many of our grandparents in the program have very limited finances. 52.38% have very low income. 14.29% are within the low income range. 23.81 are in the moderate range, and 9.52 are not in the low or moderate range. This program features full case management services, which include ongoing counseling to provide emotional support, and support in identifying financial resources, could be low-income home energy assistance program, farmers market coupons, taxi vouchers, referrals for legal assistance. We collaborate with many community organizations, Family Focus, Legal Assistance Foundation, Evanston Public Library, the Marine Center, just to name a few. I wanted to give you a little story to kind of give you an idea of how we're helping people. One longtime member came to us in 2010 when her daughter could no longer care for her 6 children, ages 3 to 17. And so our client stepped up to shoulder the responsibility. She thought it was going to be a temporary situation, but she knew she needed help to get through it. And so somebody from the school told her about the Grandparents Raising Grandchildren program, and it's been very helpful to her to meet with grandparents who are in a similar situation and who understand what they're going through. Like many other grandparents, she began caring for her grandchildren with little or no time to prepare. They were kind of squeezed into 3 bedrooms very quickly, and after she started going to the grandparents group, she was connected with a care coordinator who then came to the house, interviewed her, talked about the whole situation, and realized that immediately one of the things they needed were mattresses, so everybody had a bed to sleep on. And so we were able to use some gap-filling funds and some angel funds to get mattresses, and she had enough bedding to cover all the mattresses. This grandma continues to attend the program every month. It meets the 3rd Monday of every month at the Levy Center. They alternate support group and educational group meetings. While the grandparents are meeting, the children also have activities that are planned by child care specialists. There's dinner, and then these different programs that are available to them. We also offer an annual resource fair. There's a summer event and a holiday party for the grand families. There's case management, gift cards for school supplies, respite care, counseling, and taxi
taxi cab vouchers for the monthly meetings. So we appreciate the support that we've received from CDBG funding, and do you have any questions?
Just a quick budgeting question, how many staff do you dedicate to this program?
There are 2 case managers who run the program, and their supervisor provides support to them.
So is the 19,000 a percentage of the both salaries, or is that what I'm just trying to understand the math for the salary line.
Yeah, I think for the salary line, let me make sure I pull that out.
It's about 20% of their time.
Yeah, it's about 20% of their time.
Reflects the
So it's an
20% of the
allocation
two.
of their,
Okay.
of the salaries would be an allocation,
Okay.
not the full-time.
And moving outside of Evanston obviously has not had an impact in how you deliver services.
No, because again, we've maintained certainly all of our connections here in the city of Evanston, and certainly this group, we have made sure has stayed here.
Yeah, and the group meets at the Levy Center.
Right.
Okay.
We have a great relationship with the Levy Center, and so they have been very accommodating for that and other programs.
And the activities are usually at the Levy Center, aren't they?
Right.
Right.
The activities and parties, I mean, the one time they may not be at the Levy Center. One time a year, the grandmas get a dinner out. So depending on where they choose, it may not be in Evanston, but they vote on it. So that's the one time where they get a night out.
We could change that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So the last program is actually a new program for us. So it is our Pearls program, part of our Care Options offering. Let me talk a little bit about Care Options. Care Options, and Liz can talk a little bit more detail, is a relatively unique combination of services from private care management. We have a nurse on staff with that group. We will be actually starting to look at taking on guardianship in that group. And then we have our psychotherapy services, which is where the Pearls program falls under. We really see this as a natural extension. Pearls is, as Liz will describe, in-home counseling focused on depression. It is evidence-based, but it is certainly a natural extension as it utilizes our expertise, certainly among our licensed clinical social work staff. So I'll let Liz talk a little bit more in detail about that program.
Last presentation. Effective mental health in-home counseling for older adults continues to be an unmet need for services to seniors, including those in our area. Up to 15% of older adults have clinically significant depressive symptoms that have a negative impact on their day-to-day functioning, physical health, and enjoyment and quality of their lives. Care Options of the North Shore Senior Center is requesting support for the growth and development of Pearls. Pearls is a program that encourages active and rewarding lives. Pearls is an evidence-based counseling program that has been found to be effectively reduce symptoms of depression in older adults. The research was funded by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and conducted at the University of Washington in Seattle, in collaboration with Seattle's Area Agency on Aging. The client population in the Seattle program is similar to our community care program, Medicaid waiver clients. We expect most of the referrals for Pearls counseling to come from our senior and family services case managers who are working with low-income Evanston seniors. Each referred older adult is screened for depression by phone using the Patient Health Questionnaire 9, which is commonly called PHQ 9. The program is explained to the senior, and the initial in-home meeting is scheduled. Licensed clinical social workers trained to provide Pearls meet with clients in their homes for 9 sessions over a 19-week period. One of the really nice things about this program is you get in, you do the evidence-based work, and in 19 weeks you have really resolved a lot of their depressive symptoms, and then you are out. You do follow up. Depressive symptoms are monitored throughout the program. Now, at session 3, If the client is not scoring less depressed on the scale, then there is a psychiatrist we consult to look at possible medication needs, and we have a geriatric psychiatrist on board with us for this program, Terry Hanusa of Glenview, and he's very well versed in this. We talk with him twice a month and review cases, and then he helps us understand how to help these clients from a medical and drug medication standpoint. Pearls uses problem-solving techniques that help the older adult identify unsolved problems and develop ways to address them through increased participation in social, physical, and other pleasant activities that result in decreased depressive symptoms. We're talking a lot here about seniors who have become isolated, who have dropped out of a lot of things that they've enjoyed in their life. And a lot of the way this program works is to get them, find ways to get them re-engaged in their life and in their community. North Shore Senior Center Care Options Program is the only one in the area providing Pearls. As the client numbers grow, additional Pearls counselors will be trained so that the needs for seniors and with depression can be met. Outcomes include measuring that the depressive symptoms in fact do decrease. We will be comparing our data to the findings of the University of Washington research. Thank you for considering funding this new initiative. We're very excited about this. Mental health, as we all know, is one of the really key areas that needs a lot of support in our communities. Thank you, and I will be happy to take any questions.
I have a question. The program is in effect right now. It says the staff is hired, so it is.
Okay,
it is
we
going,
actually, we rolled the program out in July. That was our rollout date, and it's up and running. And so we think it may even outdo what we're proposing in the proposal, but we have the psychiatrist on board, we have a clinical psychologist on board who's helping with the more clinical issues rather than the medical issues, and we have one fully trained Pearls counselor who will be training other folks as we need them, most likely recruiting them out of the staff of the Senior Family Services with their LCSWs. So it's a very exciting integrated program, which just makes what we're doing more comprehensive across the board in social services. So,
is bereavement included?
The depression, we will most definitely get seniors who score high on depression because they are experienced bereavement. And so the answer would be yes, that could be one of the ways. We're really working with seniors who are experiencing losses across time, either of their own health, people they love, their pets, whatever. And so the kind of depression they have is just where they're becoming less and less active, less and less able to tune into life as they knew it. And so it certainly could include grief and bereavement.
Thank you.
Yes.
And how are you able to identify the isolated senior that's not engaged?
We are going to be getting these referrals through our very wonderful case managers out of Senior and Family Services that visit the clients. They're going to identify clients that they feel would meet the depression criteria for inclusion in the program. They're going to refer those folks over to us, and then we are going to do the official inclusion screening and so forth to determine if in fact they do have depression to the level that this program might be of assistance to them.
Well, those are the ones that have some contact. Don't forget Meals on Wheels.
Yes, yes. Well, we're actually widely marketing this program so that we don't miss any seniors. So although we think the major number will come out of our Senior and Family Services, in fact, the first two, I think, didn't come out of Senior and Family Services. One was referred by a psychiatrist that read a piece in one of our publications. So we really are casting the broader net. But we do look at the Senior and Family Services client base. I think across Senior and Family Services at this time, we have about 6,000. We have about 6,000 open clients. Well, you can bet there's a lot of depression out there. A lot of this is isolation. It's not the way we usually think about clinical depression and the imbalances and so forth. These are just folks that become isolated, become sad, will score high on that depression scale. We get in there, work with them, get them more engaged in their life, helping them identify some problems that are bothering them, helping them understand how to solve those problems, and it works.
Alderman Simmons?
What if they have mobility issues? Movement because of a stroke or some kind of
Well, and we will have this. So, and no one can say that there aren't really good reasons why our seniors are sad and have depression. Under almost all conditions, we would be able to work with clients to help them engage more than they're engaged at the time and get back into more of a lifestyle that can give them some joy.
But I do think it's an important question because this is in-home. So
Yes.
The mobility issue is immediately addressed by the fact that we come to them.
Yes, yes.
Alderman Simmons?
Do you have a regular outreach at the Foster Senior Club meetings to let them know about the services?
We are scheduled to the Foster Senior Club, and Terry McHugh is on the schedule to speak with them. We're getting before the faith community and all the other places where we know people will know about seniors who are isolated in their home from stroke and other things. So I want to really emphasize the evidence-based piece of this, because you hear that thrown around a lot. There are really great studies to show that when this is carried out the way it's prescribed by the University of Washington, it in fact does work. So that is the really good news. So,
Well, very positive. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Excellent
much.
work all these years. All right. Would anybody in the audience like to speak? We have a few minutes. Anybody, any comments? Our staff? We thank everybody, really, thank you so much for coming and for making these wonderful presentations and for all your excellent work. Thank you. I don't know what we would do without you.
Which makes our job that much more difficult.
But it's good to have all this
Right.
to work with. Staff, comments, Sarah? Anybody?
Thank you. I'd just like to announce that the next meeting of the Housing and Community
you speak
Development
into-
Act Committee is Tuesday, September 19th at 7 p.m. And that will be to hear requests for 2018 CDBG funding only. And the next Mental Health Board meeting is scheduled for Saturday, September 23rd. That's Saturday at 9 a.m. To hear the additional requests for Mental Health Board funds only. So, thank you.
Also, for the CD committee, Sarah and Jessica, we had a conversation offline about the city services, city programs that are going to be presented. You're going to get the presentations on paper online. Does anybody, I know you probably haven't seen them yet, but do you want any kind of a presentation from our staff? For example, there's going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars, I think 600,000, I don't know, for alleys. Do you want staff member to come and present those? It's also going to be the night for public service. Yes?
I do have a request.
Okay, that's what we're here for.
Now, this is not to the capital projects, but this is regarding the certificate of rehab program. For years, I have been asking if they would bring in and show us some really concrete results of how this program is bringing a return for the community with hands-on examples, case studies, whatever they can provide. I'd really love for them to come and make a presentation because they are one of the largest recipients of these funds, and I think people should know what that program is doing for the community. Thank you.
How about one or two examples? Okay. All right. Could we have a motion to adjourn? Thank you, mental health. Thank you, CDBG.